Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we are back talking with John Kovaleski from Monster Fight Club. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic on this rainy Sunday afternoon in here in Virginia.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I know you guys have been, longtime friends of the channel. We have, been using a lot of your terrain in a lot of our social media posts and battle reports, and you guys have been up to quite a lot. So I was hoping that we could talk with you a little bit about today about what Monster Fight Club has been up to, and I know you guys have some new things on the horizon as well. So with all that being
Yeah,
said, what's the
we
skinny?
the skinny. Let's see. Well, we came back from Gen Con. The big news at Gen Con is we finally, after 2 years, got our Cyberpunk Combat Zone out in the world. So that has been delivered to most of the people in Kickstarter. We're still dealing with some European issues. All the product is in Europe. We're just waiting for ShipQuest to get that packed up and out. They're also working on the Mr. Torg Arena Badassery delivery. In the States, a lot of people have that already. Just waiting for those last few people in Europe to be able to get it. And I'll drop over here real quick to kind of show you things that we got going on.
Oh, very cool. Yes, yes.
So there's the Combat Zone game. We've gotten some really awesome reviews from IGN and Polygon and all of those guys. We actually got compared to Necromunda, which is high praise for me because that was one of my favorite games of all time.
Awesome.
And then we've got
and this is the Borderlands. Yeah.
And that is the Truckosaurus.
Look at that guy. He looks awesome.
And the mouth's open, and the guns work, and the turrets move. It's pretty cool. Fantastic. I get crazy models. So that was the big one. I saw your review. The reason I reached out, I saw your review on the containers, and I thought that was really cool. And
oh yeah, they're. I actually have some of them in front of me right now too. These things, I love the way they stack. And I love the way the green containers show up on the green screen. They look actually really cool. I bet you some content creators could come up with some really cool invisible terrain with some of this as well. But these are actually really awesome.
So since we're talking about containers, when I was it's actually been, I guess, started PAX last year. PAX Unplugged. We went and I used to be in the Merchant Marine years ago, and I've always wanted to do some big ships. So I built a giant container ship to show off the containers, because why wouldn't you?
Right.
And so everybody was kind of blown away by it. And we had so many people saying, "Oh, I want one of those. I want one of those." And you keep saying no, 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 until finally somebody offers you enough money and you're like, "Okay, we'll do it." And so we sold it. Then the sheer amount of work to do it again was ridiculous. And I'm like, if I actually want to make this available to people, I need to sit down and figure out the engineering so I can build it so that anybody can use it. And that's what I ended up doing.
And you're talking about the shipping containers, right? Or are you talking about something bigger?
A little bit bigger. So
okay.
Here,
so that is actually a real ship.
It's a real big ship. So this thing is
holy ship. If you pardon my puns.
And we're looking at a work in progress. So it's not in all of its glory yet. But I got ridiculous to the point where I've actually done working anchors, and I'm working on getting the anchor windlasses working, a proper chain locker. There's 8 foot of chain in right now. So technically you could sit here and
so make sure nobody steals it, because they could,
they could anchor it down and do some other stuff. But the main reason we were doing this is because of the containers. So what's neat about the containers is these all kind of go into where you want them, and because they stack.
Oh wow! Look at that.
And now you can put them where and this can get ridiculous. So we're sitting here laying them out on the table.
So you could make that ship
I think we're
flush if you wanted like more of a flatter area, or make it a little more realistic and alternating heights and.
Oh, so yeah, so let's get crazy for a second. We're going to
let's get crazy. I like to get crazy.
We'll get over here. So you can get 5 containers across the bottom here, as you put it. So you could theoretically. There we go. Start getting these locked into place. And but you get the idea when you fill this thing. So Gen Con, when we were there, we had this entire container ship filled to the brim. It can hold.
I've seen photos, and I didn't know if this was something like just a one-off or what the story was with this ship.
It started off being a one-off, and then we had enough people requesting interest, like, oh, it doesn't matter what's going to cost. And I'm like, I think it's probably going to matter when I tell you the ridiculous price tag. And then the sheer amount of time we did, I had to build a second one for Gen Con because I did sell the first one. And I spent maybe 3 straight days and had all kinds of issues putting it together because a lot of it was MDF at the time.
Okay.
And changed it. This is now mostly 3D printed.
Oh, wow.
When it goes through. But one of the things I wanted to make sure that we did was I wanted it to be easy to assemble. So my goal, my self-proclaimed goal, which made it really difficult for me, was to can I put the entire thing together without glue?
Without glue? That sounds impossible. There's no way you put that together without glue.
Everything you see here, including the building in the background, there's not a drop of glue on it.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
Now, I was impressed with these containers. So I've got one right here. That all of this was put together without glue in the review, and I'll put a link to the review that I did of these containers. Like, you got moving parts, you got doors that open and close, and it all goes together very quickly. It's not hard to get these together, and there's no glue required. I mean, you can glue if you want to, but I mean, why complicate the process? So I was really impressed with that. But you're telling me that whole ship has no glue?
The whole ship has no glue.
Wow.
And let me kind of finish putting some containers in these guys right here and kind of show you where I'm at. The other thing that I'm really looking forward to is, you see, it's all white and black now. I like this white and black color scheme.
Sure.
For like the crane thing on here. I want the decks to be, I want them to, these are probably either going to be gray or green when we go through. But every single place where you see MDF, so this is MDF, but you want to be able to play in it, right?
Okay.
So
yeah, for sure.
And so I'm going to kind of do this, but.
Oh my gosh, you did the interior as well?
So I am working my way through it, but yeah, so here's the chart room.
Wow. That is incredible.
And then if you really wanted to go nutty with it, this whole section here can lift up, and what ends up happening is this front can slide up, and every single one of these levels is going to have detail on it all the way through it. And if you look at this, here's one of our one of the new buildings we're working on here, but that color that we did on the building, we're going to be able to do that on all of the flat areas.
Okay.
Everything that is flat is going to be colored. So when I did these sides back here, I kind of love this because most ships I've ever been on have like rusty looking stuff all over the place. But in reality, this is burned from the laser that was going through. But yeah, let me show you some craziness about this. So all of these here are going to have basically locks so they can lock into place.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're going to know where they're going to go. This particular paston, you notice everything I do, we have Cyberpunk miniatures around to make sure everything feels right and you can put it together and do stuff with it. Absolutely. So this could come off here, and this can come over here, and I'll tell you what, this will end up being locked here.
Okay.
this goes down in through here. So I'm going to lift this up now, just because I have friends of mine who are still ship captains, and they're just like, I think you're a little. And I said, yeah, I think you're right. But I'm going to pop this up here. See what's going on. And you know what? So when I was saying playable, you can play the entire inside here.
Wow, look at that! All of that is it's just all built out. This could be like an entire RPG campaign, and also
And the other thing.
terrain.
Yep. I also want to, all the flat areas, since we're doing all the graphics for it anyway, I think we're going to do a fold-out book of all the terrain. So you can, if you don't want to take the boat apart while you're playing, you can just have the map next to you and be running your figures around on it.
Oh, that's smart. So yeah, that's a great idea. This way, you know, you're not sacrificing form for function.
Exactly. So there we go. I am still in the process of getting all of this correct. So,
well, it looks like you're off to a really good start. That's impressive.
Well, what I just realized now is that I think I don't think 8 foot of chain is required.
You might have went a little overboard there, yeah.
But I was trying to get the chain out of the ship. And I'm like, the only
is it too much of a pun to say that you may have went overboard on the chain? Because
I went just a little overboard. Yeah. So let me show you. This is kind of neat. So you got the whole boat when you look at it all the way down.
Right.
But it's all connected because I said there's no glue. So I can grab it and it's connected.
Oh, wow.
So you can slide it around. But, you know, where are you going to keep it? Where are you going to put this thing when you're sitting here doing stuff?
Oh,
so
on the dining room table, and the family will eat on the floor.
That worked.
It does gives me some memories of you know, growing up. If you're a child of the '80s and you were into GI Joe at all, you know, you may have had, if you were really fortunate, or if you weren't, you know, you had a friend who was really fortunate. Somebody maybe you knew had the USS Flag, the GI Joe aircraft carrier, and it was massive, like, you know, and
the amount of times I went and looked at it in Toys R Us was that was the thing that I always wanted.
Yeah,
as it was going.
And you've kind of created, I mean, an homage to sort of that. Being able to have something like this that you can actually play on is insane, and I love it.
So I'll keep this ganger here as scale. So here it gives you a sense of scale. That's one of our 32 mil figures.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, it's ridiculous. But let's say you want to play under the deck here. You literally just go, and now you're playing.
Look at that.
So you eyes all the way up on the inside and get up into the house as it's coming through. During COVID, we did a live stream with a game with Mike Pondsmith and Matt Lillard and a whole bunch of other people, and on YouTube. And I think it's got close to 1 million views right now.
Wow.
But we were on a ship called the Amber Lynn. We went out to sea to basically, we found out that it turned out that there was an AI controlling the ship, and it kind of went crazy, you know, thus Amber Lynn, if anybody knows the background of Amber Lynn. So the ship was kind of crazy out doing its own thing, and we found out that it was full of containers with cool stuff. So we went out to get it, and then it went horribly wrong as we were out there fighting this thing. But after it was over, I was joking with Mike Pondsmith, and I said, Mike, I'm going to build that ship. He's like, you're never going to make this ship. I'm like, here it is.
And
now he's like, so he was like, when do I get my copy? And I'm like, okay, that's when I had to start thinking about the engineering side of making all this work. So you saw how I popped those apart right there.
Yes.
So I'm all here is there are all these clicky bits right here, these walkways. They also look cool because you can walk your figures in between the containers. But the main reason I did it was so that I could break the boat down.
Okay. Oh, look at, so it can be stored. I see.
So what's also is imagine taking your containers and filling it up like this and making it nice and square. You can then cap it. Now notice how this just came apart.
Yeah.
This is a version 2. This is the version 3 that won't come apart. But I'm going to set this over here.
Wow.
But you could take and use it as a cap. So now you're actually storing this thing with your containers in it.
Okay.
So now you got this nice, cool little box to put this thing away. So you see how it's got all these, it looks very geometric.
Yeah, very
on the
much
bottom.
So. Yeah.
Comes through. But if you want to put it away, imagine these being in full color.
There you go. Wow, that took no time at all.
And when you pull these off of the 3D printer, I came up with this, it's basically puzzle pieces for lack of a better word, that kind of slide these together, which is kind of difficult to see here.
Sure.
But what it does let you do, and go here. Here we go. When you pull off the printer, there are minimal supports on this. You literally pull it out. You take part A and B. Now it's assembled.
Wow, it's very cool.
So,
no, I'm not much of into 3D printing, but I that's definitely one of the things is that like the more supports they have, the more cleanup and the more work there is after it's done.
it is, and there's a big difference between, I've been into resin printers and high resolution printers for years. Going back to, very expensive, 6-figure Stratus printers. But now today you can get, these 8K and 12K printers that can print miniatures phenomenally well. And everybody, there's still a little bit of voodoo to it for how to get your supports right and make it pretty and have to clean. I still think it's easier to get actual production models that come off because they are designed to be cast. There's a lot of people that are selling 3D printed models out there. They don't think about actual playing with it as much as to make it look really cool in a render. Mm-hmm. And I think people are starting to look and they're getting better and better. So I feel like technology is finally at that point where it's catching up. And then the FDM printers, which people have been playing with for a long time, I thought they were cool and they worked, but I don't have the time to tinker mm-hmm. and make these things print correctly. And every time I would buy an inexpensive FDM printer, it just wouldn't work for me the way I wanted it to. So I kind of gave up. And then about a year ago, Bamboo Labs came out with their X1 carbon printer. It was a Kickstarter that they did. Their high-end one's about $1,400. Their low-end one, which is a P1P, is I think $599. But these parts were made on a $599 printer, mm-hmm. and they look. And what I love Bamboo Labs ecosystem is that when you put it out there, and this, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, by the way. Okay. It's just I'm a boy, and everything that you see on the ship, the bridge, and all of this was made on $600 printers. And now that I've got the files done, you can load it in there and hit print, and you get yourself a ship in a couple of days. And it comes to a couple of days if you're printing it yourself. If I've got 6 of them right now with another 6 on order. So I'm working on my farm to really pump these things out quickly.
Wow,
when it comes through.
That's insane. Yeah, and you've also got a whole construction rack there, or a loading dock, or I don't even know what you call that giant other piece too.
Yes. This is my well. If you're gonna have containers, you need to be able to load these things, right?
Yeah, you got to get them on and off, right?
So you literally.
Oh my! And it moves too. Look at that.
So I have worked out the engineering to make all of this work, and it will. that's not what I'm doing right now. It's the next step of this is breaking out my Arduino and a little stepper motor and everything to actually function and work. But also this, check this out. That's a press fit because it's the same connector system.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So no glue as it goes through. Now, this particular one is set to one height. Inside here, there's actually a little hook where the second line got pulled up. So on version probably 11, when I redo this, the hook will be on the outside, not on the inside. So you can literally just grab it and hang it. So you'll be able to adjust it on 2 levels just during gameplay. But I love the idea in playing Combat Zone where, you know, you want free movement, get 5 or 6 guys to zoom down on this and then have your net runner hack the system and move this thing out.
Oh yeah, no, that's incredible.
And then better yet, or you bring it out here and you got 5 or 6, you know, Maelstrom guys and you release the container and crush everybody underneath it.
That's like the play of the game right there. Yeah.
So as I'm sitting here playing around with it, everybody's like, does it work? I'm like, what do you mean does it work? So after listening to that about 20 different times, of course it works. Why wouldn't it work?
Wow.
So I went in, did a little engineering work. So here, kind of look down that way. So it will have a workable.
Oh my gosh, look at that. That's insane.
So let's hoist this sucker up, get it up into position. There's a little lock over here, locks it down into place. And so now you have your crane as it starts coming up. And again, I'm going to lower this back down just because. There we go. To show how this thing gets, everything I did, I wanted to be able to break it down if I wanted to. So right in here,
yeah.
Every one of these here, kind of zoom in on this a little bit. That's how it kind of fits together. It's that same connector system that I used over here. Okay. So I can sit here. And let's see if this one can come out. It'll be this way. You get the idea.
Oh wow, yeah. That's not hard at all, and
so
there's a whole no glue system.
There's no glue, so you know when you get this thing, you'll just take your pieces, put them into place, and snap it in. Now this particular one has to be put back together before you assemble it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put this back up in here. I'm going to take this one and put it down here.
And so while you're putting that together, this is a great segue into the Kickstarter that you guys have going on, which is going to focus on these shipping containers. And I think we talked a little bit, but I know you have a lot of plans for these things beyond just what I can, but beyond what I can see with this one. So do you want to talk about that a little bit, or?
Sure. So what we got going on here is we have our standard shipping containers that have this was the Cyberpunk edition that we went through. So all the cool Arasaka logos and Zeta and, Zarafa and all the other ones that are in here. We did these, and there are some people who are like, oh, those are cool, but what else do you got coming on? So I know at the beginning of the video or today, I think you were showing kind of the glam image of how all this could look when it's done.
Right.
We have 5 more factions that we came up with that aren't anything in particular. We kind of made them up. But we have much more earthy colors. So kind of that, rust.
Okay.
There's a dark green. There's a company out there called ONE, which is bright pink. Their ships are pink. Their containers are pink. And so I was being cheeky, and I'm like, rather than doing, Ocean Network Enterprises, we can do Ocean Network International and call it ONI. And we'll make pink ONI containers. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we want to and put all of that stuff together. I'm going to wander over here real quick. The other thing that we're working on And this is one of the main reasons why we're doing it in Kickstarter is tooling is expensive. So whenever we do tooling, I like to help get some fundage up front for the tooling side of things. We are working on swappable sides.
Oh, okay. So instead of just,
So
instead of just a flat side, it's you're gonna have that looks like a shop.
So, exactly. So shops, noodle bars. Yeah, this is another one of the same one. But when you see the campaign when it comes out, there are I think 6 different facades. Maybe, yeah, there's a bunch. We're also doing 10-foot containers, which will be squares, and 2 of those together will be able to lock and make 20.
Okay.
But since we're up with the lock to make the 20, that's going to allow you to put the lock on the inside. So when you pop this out, there's just going to be a separate piece that goes right here that lets you take 2 and put them together and make 40.
Okay.
And that idea, and as you can see here, this is yet another side as we're going through to let you do bridges and stuff. But this is a 3D printed version of the connector. But that connector there, imagine it. So here's that one we just opened up.
And now,
I got
oh
40.
yeah, very cool.
And
so
now you got bigger.
And I like the idea of the bridges too, because especially with since I've been playing a lot more Star Wars Shatterpoint lately, or just trying to build interactive movement areas with multiple heights, and having the high ground over somebody else, that's really going to facilitate into that style of gameplay.
Oh, and I love this, the fact that everything connects.
Mm-hmm.
So you could take this and take 5 of them, click, 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 all the way down. Wow. We've also worked out basically a version of this clip, but this is opened up. And this allows you to go on the inside of a building wall, through the building out this direction. And then that's how you get these Ready Player One type buildings with the container sticking out of them.
Okay. Wow.
So
that's awesome.
So you're going to make a building like that, and you'll have containers connected to it coming out, which is giving you all kinds of play surface to jump around and play.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you're blowing 20 stories, you get squatted. But that's what it goes down to. The assembly of the boat, I wanted to show you, we got sidetracked here for a second.
Sure.
In the boat itself over here, I wanted to show taking this front section off and rolling this around here. So here's the bow side.
Okay. Love it.
And the stern works the same way with houses. But here's what I wanted to show. Let's see here. I just want to be clever. Here we go. That comes off.
Wow, look at that.
And as I said, the reason the MDF, there's a couple of reasons the MDF we're using on the inside. One, I want to be able to put color and do printed maps and stuff on it.
Exactly.
As we're going. The other big reason is the couple of places that you need to have supports in order to not make it mess things up is you want to be able to send the supports directly to the build bed. So if there's no floor, the supports can be right in here and there's nothing to get messed up by them. But these are raw right out of the printer. And there's that's the worst it's going to get on the inside. But I just love how the engineering of all of this just lets you break it down. So you literally can break this down to a really small package.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it literally goes together this quick. And I have built this entire boat in about, after you've done it 5 or 6 times, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes total.
it looks like too you don't have to disassemble it completely either. So if you have one of these on your gaming table, maybe you just want to leave the back and the front intact, and then just disassemble those middle sections and stack them up. So then you have three sort of distinct places to put on a shelf.
Absolutely. And they were designed, so I was thinking about shipping when I did it. So nothing is longer, even when this whole thing is assembled, it will fit into a 2 foot by 18 foot by, foot and a half box. So you put them in a nice box to protect them, and it doesn't.
Did you say 18 foot?
Sorry, 18 inches.
Okay. I was to say an 18-foot box. I'm like, wait a second. Wait, that sounds extremely huge. Okay.
No, 18 inches.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, wonderful.
So,
all right.
Which is totally doable.
Yeah.
And as we're sitting here chatting.
Yeah, you're assembling this in real time. It doesn't take that long.
And we've already got a lot of this mocked up in color, so in the renders it looks phenomenal. I'm really looking forward to getting it on the printer and getting them printed out and seeing what this looks like in full color. And I know it's going to be fantastic. This is one of those projects, I think, that if you did it for money, no one would ever do it, because there's, this is because I want to do it. This was my save me some stress project.
This is a passion project, I'm sure, just to come up with all of this. And for people watching, like, I know that some folks are going to be interested in maybe just the containers, but some people are going to see something like this and be like, no, I need that whole ship. Is this going to be part of are they both going to be part of the same Kickstarter, or is it going to be separated?
This is all part of the same Kickstarter. So there's a couple of ways we're going to do it. To start with, we're going to, make it available as a kit. So you would get everything printed out. Everything would be pre-color, everything would be packaged, and you would get it, and you would just put it together based off of kind of what I'm doing now, with far better instructions than I've done in the past. We have learned from a couple of my mistakes in the past of not doing IKEA-like instructions. Sure. In my head, I'm just like, of course it goes together like this. But I guess other people look at it and don't think the same way. So okay. I'm like, all right, I can do a little bit more. But I had this thing completely stripped down, and now it's back together again. I've had those completely stripped down. Now it's back together again. Back on the stern here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's very hard to take apart and put back together, which also means it's probably not that hard to be able to play on it and to get down a level if you want to do that.
No, it's not. And it's funny, every time I mess around with it, I would say, oh, why didn't I do this? Or why didn't I do that? And then I end up changing something to make it work. Back on the stern here, and I'll show you a good innovation I could talk about. If you look at the top here, right now we have all of these, they kind of connect to the floor, and then it goes down on the inside. It made it a little bit difficult in order to get it in and out. So then I came up with the idea of breaking these things apart right here. So just little press fits. They just go together.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
But what's neat is I'm like, well, you can go in here if you want to take the top off, you pull this out like that. But I'm like, well, that's kind of a pain. And I'm like, how could I make that easier? So what might be easier, here's your top.
Oh, look at that.
Just look at this real quick right here. This element right here is kind of sandwiched between this HDF layer bottom for the plastic. Mm-hmm. All these right here, these are designed to take these supports and they just kind of squish in there, and that's what kind of locks it into place. However, it doesn't need to be locked into place because this is enough of a pinch fit here to keep it on top. So I'm going to basically level this out to not worry about how to get things taken apart. It'll be easier to do it this direction. But you tap a side here, they just snap right into here. So when you go back to put it in, you put it in, pinch, pinch, pinch. It's back in place. No glue. I'm going to take this side off. Take the side off. Roll right. Oh, you know what I'm going to do though? This is the most important part.
Yes.
Got your stack?
Oh, is that? No way. You're joking. Look at that. That's incredible. That is something else.
Let's roll around to this side. And I was talking about before. So if the top can come off easily, like we just did, and split it off here, then you can pick this up. Now you got all your floors.
Oh, look at that. Awesome. Awesome.
Imagine each floor, though, is like you saw on the house, where there's your floor and you have the rooms done.
Mm-hmm.
So you can literally, or if you want to store your miniatures on the insides.
Oh, wow. Yes. That's that's wild. There's so many different possibilities of different ways that you can do that. That's incredible.
And then even on the stern on the back, notice I left the areas to run the lines through. Mm-hmm. So I want people to be able to play on the different decks. So you just lift it up, and now you're on the next level. And then you can get down up through in there.
Wow, this is amazing. What's the time frame that we're looking like? Is this going to be going to Kickstarter next year? Is it coming this year? You know, what's
No. It's coming in October. So look for it October 10th.
Wow,
is when we're playing live. So
that's a lot. That's incredible.
I don't want to it would be such a frightening thing to be told that I had to make 5,000 of these ships, and that would just stretch things on. I think what we're going to do is, for the people that are into it, for the containers and the hab units and all that sort of stuff, we're probably going to ship it in 2 different waves. Wave 1 will be all the peripheral stuff, which is, I think, the main reason for the campaign. And then for the nutters that want the ships and want the cranes and all that kind of stuff, we're going to do that on a first come, first based on your order number. So if you are order number 5, but you're the first guy to do the full meal deal and get it all, we're going to have a couple ready to go probably as soon as the campaign one's done.
Oh, wow.
And then out. So the thing we'll have to wait on will be the tooling for the hab unit walls, because we're going to do those in plastic, mm-hmm. and the production run for the different color containers. However, those containers we've already pulled the trigger on.
Wow.
Because all the new containers are going to be done, by the end of the campaign. The 10-foot versions, the connectors, the hab units, that's the thing that's going to take a little bit longer, but we've already pulled this trigger on the tooling. So that's all being done right now. And as long as the world doesn't explode and, a world pandemic comes again and aliens attack and all that kind of stuff, we should be much faster this time around.
Well, I mean, this whole thing looks absolutely incredible. I'm blown away. I can't. All right, John. So I want to thank you so much for sitting down and talking to us today. This has been a really cool looking preview. Thank you for such a detailed preview of some of the awesome stuff that's coming into the next Kickstarter, as well as that chain. That's a really cool chain. You 3D printed the chain?
I did, and the fact it's so small. Mm-hmm. This was a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
I probably did about a dozen different prototypes on this. So speaking of that, I think we're going to make the files available for this as well. There's a lot of people out there with printers that are just going to be, I just want the files. So I think we're going to have a digital component to this. Because of the HDF components that we have, the hardboard, and the color, I think what we'll probably end up doing is making those available separately.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to print it themselves, we can just send them the extra pieces they need to complete it. I think that probably makes the most sense. And then, these are essentially just flat. And I do think that down the road, people are going to want to put detail on them and, blow do other kind of things. And if you're going to do all of that, they probably should be 3D printed. So I think for the digital side of it, as I update files, we'll make those available as well.
Oh, it's
so
a
that
great
kind
idea. Yeah.
So here's another thing I wanted to share real quick. I'm gonna go over here.
And it looks
So
like
even down,
this integrates really well with all your existing stuff for like the Monster City stuff as well.
yeah, and everything we do, I want it to be modular. I'm not going to undo it right now, but these are threaded, so they're just screws.
Oh wow, yeah.
So you grab each side and you unscrew it, and the things come out. That way, you can take the crane element off. The other thing I had the very first couple of these I did, and I've made. This is version 11 of the table in the ship, and people are like, "You haven't made 11 of these," and I'm like, while I haven't finished 11 of them, I can show you the piles of reject.
Oh wow, yeah. This is the pile of shame, huh?
Well, it's not necessarily shame. It's just
if they're unfinished,
it's like, it's and like one of the things I did somewhere in this pile of awesome over here.
Okay, pile of awesome. That sounds good. I like it.
It is, and I'm looking forward to recycling all this too. By the way. Oh, here we go. So this is something that I'm going to run with it, but can you see the reflection?
Oh yeah, is there glass in there?
Oh yeah. So we're going to do glass, and then I started working on door frames.
Oh my goodness.
I started working on porthole covers. The thing we didn't have was the radar stack on the ship that you saw in there.
Okay.
And I'll wander over here real quick. So this got done this morning. So when I was saying, how hard is this to print? You hit print, you come in. I haven't touched this. See how it was just kind of sitting there? When this cooled down, it popped off. So it's literally done. That is your support.
So you folks looking for files, this is really good news.
So, doing this one hand is a bit of a challenge, but there we go. But now you've got the hollow part as it comes through. And then there is another piece that goes on top of this that has the radar antennas on top of it.
Okay.
And I believe, oh, there you go. So this one also came off the top, like I was telling. These still have their supports on that are held up. When I do these for real, I'm going to make these two pieces separate, so you won't have to have all this support on it. But this is a beautiful part with zero supports. And now when you get back over here and you're like, how does this go? It literally just.
Wow. Cool. Very cool.
So, yep. And then these little pieces right here, you pop off these couple. See, the supports literally fall off when I'm pushing on them. And then that is designed to, there we go. And it's really hard to do this with one hand.
Yeah. As easy as they are, they still want two hands for most of it, huh?
Yeah, two hands, but this pinch fits right up into here. So this is the lights.
Oh.
You'll have the lights right.
Okay.
And I left a lot of things very hollow because you never know when you want to actually, break out a couple Arduinos and run some wires and make some things actually work.
There's some people that do that, and it's very, very impressive. Very impressive. All right, John. So, so where tell us about where people can find you guys, and where can they look if they want to see more photos of this stuff?
So right now we are, there is a Kickstarter landing page where you can start to see stuff. On our Discord, I have been doing a, as I build it, kind of series under the 3D printed section. So you could go in there and see all kinds of good, bad, and ugly of parts when they work, when they don't work, just piles of things that are on there and kind of what the vision is. And that's been a lot of fun because the community has been jumping in there and helping me with it too. It's like, hey, how would you do this? And how would you do this? And there's been a lot of innovation, I think, that has come out of just kind of this whole thing in general. How do you get these fittings to work?
Yeah.
How do you figuring out the proper tolerances. This particular top, oh, I didn't show that. So I'm going to lift this whole bit off just because while this is cool, this alone is its own. Let's see if I can, there we go. One-handed again. But you get the idea. The top comes off.
Okay. Yeah, you got a whole little office in there.
Yep. And as I said, no glue.
Nice.
So even when you're sitting here and putting these really cool bits up, you can get up here and actually play.
It's so fun to do.
And this is me just being dumb. It's a pinch fit, so you actually have working elevators.
Oh, look at that. That's fantastic.
So you decide, I'm going to move 12 inches. So you figure it out, put it, I'm going to go from here to here in the elevator. That's all the movement I had in this particular one. So you put up SOP and you got your miniature in there and he's doing his thing. So yeah.
Awesome.
So, me, I can't stop not messing around with something.
Well, it looks great, and I'm excited to see the final product too. Looks fantastic. Kickstarter going live October 10th.
October 10th. Yep.
All right. And of course, if you guys aren't already familiar, you can check out monsterfightclub.com. They have all the different trees, the outdoor scenarios. There's the pine trees. There's the forest trees. The rocks. And I love that you guys also do play mats as well. And usually when you buy a tree bundle, you're getting that smaller playmat area, which is a great way to mark area terrain. So whether you're into RPGs, miniature wargaming.
Is this a little ridiculous?
That one looks awesome, as a matter of fact. I love it. That one looks really good. What is that, like 6x4?
6x4 is half of it.
Oh my gosh.
So this is 8 feet long table this way, and it's 6 feet this way. Because these table toppers here, these are 2x4s, and there are 6 of them.
Wow.
As it goes through.
Monstrous.
It's like, go bigger. It's go big or go home.
Yeah. You definitely went big. All right. Well, that's about all the time we've got. So let me go ahead and wrap things up with you. Thank you again for showing us everything that you guys are working on. This is super cool. Folks can check you out at monsterfightclub.com. You guys are also on Instagram. What am I missing here?
The Facebook and
all the socials.
X, Twitter,
yeah,
and all the others.
All right.
Whatever they.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing more, and we'll stay tuned for that. I'll put a link in the video description below. Thank you guys so much, and to everybody watching, hopefully you guys enjoyed what you saw. If you want to learn more, you can check out those links. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys help make this whole channel possible. I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes.